Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dungeon Stories, the stories that are told in dungeons.
I don't think we've been to a dungeon yet.
No, not yet. We
Yeah.
haven't.
Let's go.
That's true. That's a little misleading of a title, isn't it? Um,
We haven't lived up to our name.
yeah. For context, if you're new here, we play Dungeons and Dragons. That's what we do around here. That's what we do. I was gonna say every week, but that's a lie. We do our best, but you know. um, Anyway, here at the top of the show, we'd like to shout out a few of our friends like Roll20.net for allowing us to have a digital tabletop on which we can have maps and everyone can see the maps. It's like playing D&D, but over the internet. And then thank you to D&D Beyond for allowing us to store our character sheets because it helps keep us organized. Let's check out dndbeyond.com. And then finally, HeroForge.com allows you to make custom miniatures for your tabletop role-playing games in a variety of genres and styles. And they have a ton of options available, so definitely check out HeroForge.com. With that out of the way, my name is Norin Shearer, and I am your Dungeon Master.
My name's Easton. I'm playing Azel the Human Monk.
I'm Jenny. I'm playing Alondra, the Elf Paladin.
And I'm Michael. I'm playing Aaron, the Dwarvish Elven Wizard.
Brilliant. Well, what say you, friends, that I do a little recap of what happened last session?
Let's hear it, my man.
Yeah, let's hear the recap.
Yeah,
What
because
have
that
we
was a
been
little
up
while
to?
ago
Yeah.
now at this point, wasn't it? That was a little while ago. So, to start off, we're playing a game called Dungeons and Dragons, if you needed a little refresher on that.
Yikes, that's a big recap. That's like starting at the beginning of time.
All started in 1998.
So, in the cities of Rubbleton and Bloom's Edge, and the third one, Cobble, there have been some children disappearing mysteriously, and people have been unable to track them down. Enter the party, beginning to track them down. You have found clues leading you to believe that the disappearances of these children is the fault of a group of traveling merchants called the Elfronis sisters.
Damn straight.
You confronted them, they revealed themselves to be hags and admitted to taking these children. Defeating one of them, you took the other one, made her make a promise that she wouldn't harm you and that she would lead you to her house where her coven is to retrieve these children. You did not make this journey alone, though. You had Draka, who is the kind of head priestess of the Temple of Stelnos in Kabul. She agreed to accompany you, and with you she brought a gnome cleric named Heidi, who was searching for her missing child. Now, after collecting Grime, the hag, from her cell in the morning, the party set off towards the Witherbloom Forest. While traveling, Avaros informed Aaron that he should try to steal Azel's book without Azel noticing.
Why do you keep reminding him?
It's just in the recap. This just happens to be the second time I've read this one. While traveling, I read that already. I don't want to remind you again since you just complained about it, so I won't reread that sentence.
Easton, he's going to try and steal.
After resting, the party arrived in the Witherbloom Forest. Grime informed them that they would have to travel off the path a little bit to reach her house. So the party began to delve into the hagwood, and they came across a tree with about a dozen dead heads hanging from its boughs that warned them about traveling deeper into the forest here. The party continued on before coming upon a group of wretched feasting upon the remains of a handful of undead boneless. After defeating the monsters, the group rested before resuming their journey deeper into the Hagwood. And so that is where we pick up today. You are awaking from your rest. You have just finished up this fight with those little gremlin things with the little T-Rex arms and the mouths full of teeth, and those sacks of skin, just the skin, nothing inside them, those
Ugh.
beasts of flesh. You had just finished up this fight, managed to find some sleep tonight, possibly fitful, depending how that affected your sleeping. That wonderful sight that you had endured here. But you all managed to long rest, so make sure you're all recharged there. And you can begin to push on deeper into the forest if you're ready. Is there anything before we set off in the morning? So you are in the Witherbloom Forest, and here it is dark and it is cold and it is kind of damp and humid. It's morning. You feel like it should be brighter in here than it is, but something about the thick canopy of the trees and just the nature of this area of the forest, things seem to be a little darker than you imagine they would be. It seems almost a little unnatural. But you've kind of gotten used to that as you've traveled through. There's not necessarily like a dirt road that you're following anymore. You've kind of gone off the beaten path, and so it's pretty much thick foliage and rough underbrush everywhere that you can see. But Grime is taking point as your guide on this one. She's kind of leading you where you need to go. Is there anything that you guys want to take care of before you set off for the day while you are still kind of taking camp down and getting ready to travel?
I have something.
Okay.
I'll
I swear to God.
no.
He's stealing the
I'll
book.
ritual cast augury to see what the bones say about us trusting Grime leading us to
Okay.
the entrance.
About her guide, her guiding you.
Yeah, as far as her being a guide.
Okay. Yeah. So you while everyone's kind of stripping down tents and stuff and picking up camp, you kind of take the time to tap into the magic around you. This forest around you, as someone who is an arcane caster, kind of what you do is you tap into the natural mana that flows throughout the world here. It's kind of a primal magic that you utilize. This forest is kind of teeming with it. It was at one point, and I think we discussed this in a previous episode, but the Witherbloom Forest got its name because it came under a curse from a cabal of necromancers that has since been purged, but the reputation of that still lives with it. That's why it has its name. But also as a lingering effect of this curse, the natural mana here in the forest is pretty palpable. You can feel it. And so tapping in to begin this ritual cast, you feel almost a kind of surge of power as you begin to cast it. And it's just something you kind of have to temper your casting of it. You have to kind of like step back a little bit so you don't accidentally overdo it. But you get the sigil set up and you take out your bones and get ready to give them a toss. And you ask about Grime leading you through the forest, how that will go for you. And the bones come up with wheel. So you do
Okay.
you do get the positive result as far as her leading you, her guidance.
And Azel just attacks. Roll an initiative. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, he's getting ready.
That
okay.
was all.
What are you attacking, Aethel?
What am I attacking?
Yeah, he's warming up his digital dice.
So last time I rolled fire, can I punch the ground? So this, I've got fire. I want to punch earth this time.
I see what you mean. Yeah, you're gonna collect all four of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, Hazel,
Okay,
you can
Avatar.
punch the earth.
Yes.
All right. So after a little bit of kind of deconstruction of camp, you begin to push deeper into the forest with the guidance of Grime. So Draka is kind of up front, driving the wagon, and Grime is next to her. Right behind Draka is Heidi, and in the morning, Heidi prepared for you a nice breakfast. She had some like homemade muffins that she had made, like apple muffins with cinnamon crumbles on top that she had for everybody. And she's like,
That
"Here,
sounds good.
here you go, everybody. Eat up, enjoy, please. They're fresh out of the campfire oven." And
Will do.
so she'll make sure everyone has one of those, and then she will
Yes.
like very very pointedly, she'll like look Grime in the eyes and like hold it there for a little bit, and then pass on as she goes to hand the muffins onto someone else. Like she'll make a point of skipping Grime while handing out the muffins. Um,
Yes.
as you begin to push deeper into the forest here, you can begin to witness kind of visible changes in the forest here. So the flora darkens in color. Um, the green here gets less vibrant, a little more muted, and a little darker as you go deeper here. And you actually get a different variety of flora as well. It begins to shift from the traditional shrubs and foliage that you'd seen prior to new species of plants seeming to dominate the area. Um, Things covered in spikes and thorns, and plants you learned from from a young age not to touch. Things like poison ivy and stuff like that. And there's like thick mold and moss of varying colors growing in thick clumps on trees and rocks. It just is kind of a very different aura and vibe here. And that already kind of unnatural darkness seems to grow darker even more as the sun should be rising here, so it should be getting lighter. It's actually having the reverse effect here in this area of the forest. As you travel, however, these plants almost seem to crawl out of the way. So the underbrush, as you guys are moving through, the underbrush parts, kind of like spreading apart. And you can see Grime kind of turning to wave at the plants as you guys ride by. And then she'll kind of turn back to you, and she'll kind of look back in the wagon and she'll say, "You know, it's not too late to turn back. If you couldn't tell from the empty skin sacks, our neck of the woods isn't the most pleasant. I'm sure everyone back in Cobble would understand if you wanted to turn back. I could even rough you up a bit so it looked like you put up a fight instead of just giving up."
I think we ought to keep going.
Not a chance.
I appreciate the gesture.
Oh, well, that's kind of you. It's funny though. Why are you on this mission in the first place? I don't understand the benefit you gain from it. Alondra, how
Does the name Kosk sound familiar?
Oh, vaguely, yes, I remember him.
Do you know if he'd be alive?
Oh, I'm sure he would be. We
Would
haven't.
be.
At least personally, I cannot leave until he's in my care.
I see. Well, it definitely makes the most sense for you then, but Alondra, what does this have to do with avenging your brother? I'm just confused. I don't see the connection here, the correlation.
This guy.
Not everything has to be correlated, but there are similarities in where I am bringing justice, and these kids need justice.
Ah, I see. So it's all truism. You're just doing good to do good.
Yes. I'm doing good to restore the balance that you guys have unrestored by taking these kids hostage.
I see your point, but hear me out. You have a goal. You want to make things right. Say
Right.
you take this detour and you get hurt real bad. You can't complete the mission you set out to do initially. That's no good, is it?
No, but my yes, I'd like to avenge my brother, but this detour, as you call it, it's not always good to focus on the bad things. And to think of it as we'll be successful in this mission, and I will come out of it stronger and with a better ability to avenge my brother. Unlike you, who just gives up
Okay,
when the wheels have turned.
okay.
All right, fair enough. But the one I really don't get is Azel. Alondra's makes a little bit of sense. You know, gain power, get stronger, so that she can complete her goal. From what I understand, Hazel, we're heading in the complete opposite direction of where you need to go for your father, isn't that right?
Small detour, but it's where my friends are going.
I see.
Oh,
So you're just
you
along
think
for the
we're
ride.
friends?
My father can wait. I like to picture him a patient man.
What's your plan for when you find him?
I didn't really think that far ahead. Maybe ask him why he left. I
Are you sure you
want
want
to
to know the answer?
I certainly want to know why he left. There's got to be a good reason to just leave your wife and your child.
Doesn't always work out like that. I think there are plenty out there who've left without a good reason. What makes you think you're one of the lucky ones that has one?
Just because it seems to be a certainty doesn't mean it is.
Friend to friend, Hazel. You might want to lower your expectations a bit. Just take a nugget of advice from me.
Oh,
Noted, but
slap it.
I don't think I'm going to be let down.
All right. I can't fault you for the optimism, I guess. It's funny, the only one that makes sense of being here is Aaron. But he's here for all the wrong reasons. Really, Aaron, we're working for the same guy.
I think that might be a little
What?
bit above your pay grade.
Azel's looking at Aaron.
It's
He's gonna
interesting that you say
Same,
that because
Alana's looking at him intently.
it's interesting that you say that. Seeing as how my goals remain a mystery to you. You think you're above my pay grade. That's interesting how that works, isn't it?
And in the end, we'll see who's alive.
Aaron, what does she mean that you're working for the same guy?
I think she is confused. Because I serve the god who
We
knows the secrets of the world and who knows knowledge that we can find, and he or
Aaron,
she does not share anything.
as much as I hate to admit it, Grime doesn't seem to be nasty, yes. Not too friendly, yes, but confused I wouldn't counter as that.
That's true. Perhaps poor
Oh, that's
phrasing. I
the
would
sweetest thing you've ever said to me.
Oh my god.
I would say that deity can be perceived and followed in faith in different practices. For some deity who are strong of mind and will, You can worship and have faith by meditating and fortifying yourself, or you can increase that faith by going out and slaying others in a show of strength. They're very different sides of the same coin, but in the end could bring glory in the same way to the same God.
And what side of the coin are you on, Aaron?
Very much not on the hag's side.
That doesn't very much clarify a whole lot.
I would say I am on the side of knowledge and growth, and Grime here seems to be on the side of trickery.
That's a rather astute way of putting it.
In the end, I seek to benefit myself so that I can benefit others. Who do you seek to benefit?
Me?
All I'm saying
Grime.
is that this we didn't start this for kicks and giggles. We've got a specific task. It's not my place to reveal it to you. Clearly, if you were meant to know, you would. But if you're serious about your dedication, you might want to stop getting in the way of our plans.
Whose place would it be to reveal?
Well, I can think of two. I'd leave the big decisions like that to Mother. And if our patron, the patron that Aaron and I share, well, if they wanted him to know, they'd tell him.
I think they would not tell me, one, if it was their plan to begin with, which I'm not sure that is entirely the case, but it would not tell me because I am not in that same facet of faith as you. It's not my purpose. You may go and do as you please, and I may do as I please, even if that is undoing your own faith.
Oh,
All right. Keep your secrets.
This is my faith.
So as you guys begin to travel, or I guess continue traveling, eventually, probably after a couple hours' time, you can begin to see a house through the thick foliage here. And it's built from old, rotting wood. It has numerous scars from what seem to be past fires. Parts of this house are dripping with dried slime, and a number of the windows are cracked and barely hanging on by their shutters. However, even through these broken windows, the inside of the house is dark. You can't see through any of these windows. The yard has an old stone pathway that has not been well taken care of over the years. A short wooden fence wraps around a portion of the yard. The yard that is encased within this fence is scattered with skeletal hands and old, dried-out, crusty-looking spheres, small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. They might be eyeballs, maybe? It's hard to tell from this distance. And also a few empty sacks of skin, similar to the boneless that you fought earlier, lie here in this space as well. However, luckily enough, as you approach, they do not stir like the ones from before. As you approach this house, Grime chuckles to herself and says, "Home sweet home." She'll turn to Draka and say, "Thanks for the ride." And then she'll turn to you guys and say, "Were you expecting something more spectacular? Something like a manor, maybe? Those oozes get so creative. We're so proud of them."
not exactly what I expected.
As she says that, Alondra is going to expend one of her divine sense to know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet of her.
Okay. Yeah, you are definitely picking up um, fiend and undead. Um, and I would say I think Fae as well. Yep. Yeah, Fae as well.
And there are all these creatures are inside the house?
Does
If
it
it
tell us how many?
yeah, read the feature to me just
Yeah,
so I
it
can
tells.
be sure how much info to give away.
Okay. It says. It says the presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a notorious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial fiend or dead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. You know the type, celestial fiend or undead, of any being whose presence you sense, but not its identity. Within the same radius, you also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the hollow spell.
Gotcha. Yeah, so definitely. So the Fae is Grime. You learn her location. So the Fae ringing on your senses is Grime. Um,
Okay.
the the undead, you're kind of getting that from the yard there. Like the hands and the eyeballs and the skin that's there. Those all look to be creatures you fought before, like the crawling claws. The eyeballs remind you of um, the flying eyes that you'd fought, and then the skin sacks obviously remind you of the boneless. Those are very faint auras. They
Mm-hmm.
look like they're not necessarily ready to spring up into action, but they have like the remnants, like lingering auras of undead there. As far as the fiend,
Okay.
you have a hard time pinpointing the exact location of that one, um, since it doesn't necessarily reveal it behind total cover, but you do get the sense that possibly inside the house is where you're looking for that aura.
Okay.
And as you're kind of sensing this, Grime is going to lead Draka to the fence here that's in the yard, um, and Grime will instruct Draka to tie off the horses to the fence there, which she will do. Um, and as you guys are getting that ready, um, as the uh, as the horses are being tied off, and as you guys are kind of getting out of the wagon here, um, these two figures are going to um, fly in and kind of perch on either one of these uh, kind of parts that jut out of the little hut. One is going to land on each of those rooms that extend out from the surface there. And these figures are humanoid in general size and shape, but they have large leathery wings extending from their back. They're dressed in rags, and their faces have empty white eyes and these long protruding spikes. It looks like their mouth and nose, where those would be, kind of extend in this giant proboscis.
Ugh.
Their hands and feet have extended into these horrific-looking claws. And as they perch, Grime looks up at them and says, "Oh, the boys are back already. Wonderful." And then she'll turn to you guys and she'll say, "Friends, meet Strixus and Alexios. You saw their handiwork yesterday." And then she'll kind of gesture to the skin sacks on the ground. Um, she'll turn and
Oh.
she'll wave up at the figures and say, "Hi, boys. I'm afraid these ones aren't for you. At least not yet. They'd like to speak to Mother first." And the two figures, Alexios and Strixus, are going to kind of like it's this kind of guttural, like howl almost, and like clicking and chittering, um, that they kind of speak back to her in, and then she'll laugh. Oh, no, be nice.
Ah,
Um, do any of you speak Infernal?
no.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so you're unable to tell what it was they said.
Rip.
Um, but once the horses are tied off and everyone kind of gets their stuff together, Grime will make her way up to the door of the cabin here. I assume you guys are following her up there.
That's a
Um,
pretty safe assumption. At least for Azel.
I will with the ring of invisibility in
Okay, you
use.
slip the ring on.
Um, yeah, I guess before I do, I point out to Azel and Alondra um, that I have a spell I can use to make your attacks more effective and, should I say, more draconic. And I'll put it in the general chat, but essentially I just let everyone know that I can cast Dragon's Breath on you, which pretty much lets you breathe fire like every round for a minute.
Ooh.
So
We.
I do have the potential to do that. We'll see how we need it. And then
Nice.
I go invisible.
Okay, yeah. As you disappear from view, um, Grime kind of chuckles and says, "Huh, old tricks. You you are a natural." Um, she'll say, "It's a shame you're on the other side." Um, and then she'll walk up and she'll knock on the door and throw it open. Um, and she'll call out, "Oh, mother, I'm home." Um,
Ugh.
and then
Shivers.
she'll lead you all in. Um, and if you follow her inside, the open door here reveals a decrepit, rotting interior to this house. The air is cold, and it carries a sour, rotting scent on it. You can hear a rhythmic dripping from somewhere in the distance. Um, you're not sure what it is or where it's coming from, but it is just this dripping that periodically occurs and does not follow any kind of pattern there. Grime will lead you through the crumbling, moldy foyer into a sitting room. The sitting room is furnished with two faded red love seats and two blue armchairs. There are portraits on the wall depicting a litany of different hags of many different varieties. Sitting in one of the blue armchairs here is a hag with deep purple skin, twisting horns sprouting from her forehead. She has inky black hair twisted into tight braids bound with skull-shaped beads. She looks over the
This time you
group.
have a picture.
Yes, I will send one in the portraits for you. Um, but she'll kind of look over the group, and she will speak in a low, gravelly voice. Grime, it's good to see you. Shame about your sister. And Grime replies, We always knew I'd last longer than Greta, didn't we, Mama Olgra? And Olga replies,
Mama Ogra.
I suppose we did. Now I see you've brought some guests. Let me guess. They're here for the children? And then she'll kind of look to you guys as she says that.
That is a very good guess, Miss Olga.
Ugh.
Is that what she said?
That's some scary ish. No, I don't say that.
Yeah, Alondra walks in and she, oh,
Oh God! Oh!
Oh,
what is that?
hit you with the ugly stick. Aaron just breaks his invisibility to say that.
Olgra, she has on her like a large bag. It is looks to be made of stitched flesh. She takes it, um, and
Takes her flesh.
she takes the flesh bag and she turns it inside out, um, and out of it falls a pile of amber gems, probably about the size that could fit in the palm of your hand. They're like chunks of amber. Um, she picks them up and kind of holds it to the light. There are a couple candles lit that provide this kind of flickering light that casts on her face. You know, like if you're telling a ghost story while out camping and you shine the flashlight on the bottom of your face and it kind of like illuminates it. Um,
Right.
the candles give that sort of similar effect to her, like she's about to tell you a ghost story. She holds up one of these gems, these chunks of amber, to the light, and inside of it, you can see a small, shrunken figure that looks like a child, housed inside of this amber gem.
What?
She kind of gestures
Oh,
to the
heck
pile and she
nah.
says, "Well, here is your treasure trove. Here's what you came for."
Okay.
Okay, Hazel's gonna be.
I can dispel it, I imagine.
Now,
I guess we didn't plan out an attack plan.
No, we didn't. No.
Kind of clutching his fist, Hazel's just gonna. What did you do to them?
well, we just. Sorry, that's not her. We just have ensured their longevity. We're preserving them for when the time is right.
You're dodging the question. What did you do to them?
How much do you know about our kind, hags?
Can I make a check to see how much I know?
Sure. Make Arcana checks if you would like to see how much you know about hags.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I know
I got a
nothing, but I'm
4.
still gonna do it.
Draka and Heidi both rolled terribly.
Oh. Oh, I did 2. I got a 9.
Aaron,
Oh, you want me to make the check as well?
if you'd like, it's your call.
Okay. Which one was that? That was a history?
Arcana.
Arcana.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I definitely want to make that. 27.
Okay, you know about hags.
Ooh.
As the rest of the group remains silent, Aaron, you know this as she's saying it. You're kind of aware of this, and she says, when we make more of us, we consume the heart of a child.
Say.
Once the heart is consumed, we give birth to the child again. However, they are now one of us. A hag, they are infused with our magic. Usually, we do not need to do this en masse like we are currently. However, we have been contracted.
Contracted by who?
Well, We have been contracted by a figure that at least one of you is rather familiar with.
Alondra turns and looks at Aaron.
You don't know where I
He's
am.
invisible.
Oh shit!
Now it's Jenny's
She
turn to feel
turns
that.
and looks.
Enough. Enough games.
I am not
Enough games. I want names.
We are beings of trickery and deceit. That makes us natural candidates to aid Severin, the deity of secrets and trickery. Severin has a plan that he has had in motion for years now. What he is after is an information gathering network. And who better to gather information than children with the powers of hags? Children who are capable of transforming and lying and using magic to twist the minds of those they seek to gain information from. Children who will be undetectable. Children who will not raise suspicion when moving about town. If you think about it, these children will be the perfect agents, the perfect spies. And so we have gathered them so that we can gift them our magic, so we can change their lives and help them achieve their fullest potential. And in turn, so that we can help Severin.
Why does Severin want this?
Severin may be a deity, but they cannot be everywhere at once. They are not omnipotent. They need help. And Severin seeks this help from us. So in order to fully complete this plan that he has put in motion, he needs to gather information. He needs
About
spies.
what?
Now that, I do not believe I'm at liberty to tell you. And I do not think it's relevant to this discussion that we're having. If I told you, do you think anything that I said could convince you to leave these children in my care? Could
No.
any information that I give you about their reasoning, would anything sway you to let these children have their hearts consumed?
No.
Why should I believe that this is about Severin anyways? You're all about trickery, lies, and deceit. How should I take your word that this is something that you're doing for your deity and not just for yourself?
Because I'm prepared to offer you a deal. Severin needs spies. They need information. They did not specify how they gained this network of spies or how they gained this information. They simply came to us and asked us to provide it. If you have an alternative, a plan better than the one we have in motion, then by all means, we will have no need for these children.
Norin, I prepare to cast Dragon's Breath using a sorcery point to target both Alondra and Azel. the minute any of them like look at each other like they're about to pounce or like do anything. I'm just kind of like getting ready to like just kind of tap them both on the shoulders.
Okay. Yeah, so you kind of tap into that arcana. You have it welling up inside of you, ready to release it. Um, but Olgra says, if you have a better idea for us to gain this information that Severin seeks, then by all means, we will have no need for these children.
And you're just after general information.
Well, we are after specifics, but we need to come to an understanding before I reveal that to you. You understand. If I show our cards too early, that might leave us at a disadvantage.
And if we give you our cards too early, that leaves us at a disadvantage, and we might not be able to help.
Well, how about a card for a card? I'll start if you're nervous.
I'll
Severin,
help in any way that I can.
Severin is a deity that is not meant to exist. I'm sure you are aware of the pact that all the deities have. There are 11 prime domains. There are 11 prime deities. When a deity has a child, they pass on their influence, their power, over their domain to their firstborn child. If a deity has a child beyond the first, they create a deity of a minor domain, one that is not necessarily linked to their prime influence. A long, long time ago, there was a war fought, the War of Influence, where there were no rules, no regulations. Deities were popping up all over. You had the 11 prime domains and countless, hundreds maybe, of minor deities running about as well. These deities disagreed on how to treat the mortals. They disagreed on how to regulate their own power. Some of them were too dangerous for the world. So after the War of Influence was fought, and this war ravaged Thagos. That's what happens when you have gods clash in a world meant for mortals. Eventually, a pact was formed among the deities that each of them would only carry one child in order to pass on the prime domain and nothing else, so we would not risk the world coming overfilled with divine power like it was before. However, some deities can't control themselves or don't wish to. They feel limited by this. Other minor deities have survived and had their own children passing on their minor domains. So these deities of the minor domains, these ones outside of the 11 prime domains, still exist to this day, a few of them. Severin is one of these. Their domain is trickery and secrets. So, with this knowledge, let me pose you a question. Who would be the greatest threat to a deity that is not supposed to exist? anyone? Any ideas? Aaron, you're smart.
Does she like
See,
look at
see
me?
it
She
on!
doesn't. She doesn't look at you, but she says your name.
I'm not saying anything.
It's the other deities. Who can kill a god but another god? It's possible. Sure, there have been 2 or 3 tales of mortals claiming the life of a deity, but in our thousands of years on this planet, that has only happened a handful of times. So naturally, the biggest enemy to Severin is the other deities. So it would behoove the deity of secrets to attain the secrets of their biggest enemy, would it not? So that is what we seek.
Yes, but at the cost of innocent lives of children, imprisoning them into a life that they didn't have any choice in. And as she's saying this, she is slowly unsheathing her rapier.
Olga is going to raise her hand and say, "Do not blame Severin for this. These are our methods. They did not specify how we were to help attain this information. As I said, if you have another suggestion, we would be happy to part with these children. In fact, we would free them for you. But we cannot return to Severn empty-handed. We do not need to shed blood today if we can come to an agreement." We have not harmed any of them yet. Each missing child is here
Yet.
before you. Exactly. Yet. You have a chance to stop this if you can help us come to another solution.
You've taken them away from their homes. You don't think that's harming them? You might have not harmed them physically, but you have harmed them emotionally
Gonna
and
need
mentally.
therapy.
Therapy in the world of Thagos. Who is the deity of that?
That's a good question. I don't have one yet. We'll get there. She says,
I do like sort of like tap Andra and Azel's shoulders, just kind of letting them know that I'm there, kind of like indicating that like what I talked about can be ready. So if they want to like wait for me to do something, they can.
"Now, I've shown my cards. I've told you why we're after what we're after. I've told you how we plan to achieve it. You understand that this puts me and my family at a disadvantage. I have made us vulnerable to you because I sense we may be able to work together. I've shown my cards, now it's time for you to play yours. We are fully prepared to send these children with you to go back home. We just need a better alternative."
What they said they're after? They're just trying to gather
Knowledge.
intelligence.
They were gonna,
What if
essentially Olga said that they're going to turn these children into hags so that they can be spies for them to gain the information that they seek. If you can think of a better way for them to gain this information that they're after, then she will let them go.
what if we did it instead?
That is a bold proposal.
I certainly don't speak on behalf of Alondra or Aaron, Heidi, or our priest friend, Jaka. But if we were prepared, these children are untrained in ways of combat, and we are trained in many different ways. If we are prepared to align our skill with your cause, do you suppose that would be enough?
I would need assurance that you would not betray us.
Just as much as I need assurance that every word out of the mouth you just spoke it from is not a lie.
Hit her with it. Hit her with it. Hit her with it.
As you have been made aware by my daughter, when we make deals, we honor them. Grime says, "She's right. I didn't hurt you once, did I? And I got you here just like I said I would. As much as you don't want to admit it. I kept my bargain."
How do we know that this isn't a bargain between you and your deity to bring us to him?
If Severand
You,
wanted you, they have a gateway.
a gateway meaning
We are not the only beings in the employ of Severand. Another of your party
I've
is under his
made
employ as well.
as I've painfully been made aware.
So,
I speak for myself and I am willing to do this work.
Alondra,
Yes, Olga.
and I hate to ask you to speak on behalf of Aaron, but I see that he is not wanting to partake in this discussion with us.
Let's see, I can speak without breaking invisibility, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think the only thing that would break it, I think it's like taking an action.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, then I'll say, it seems like if we side with you, we're dealing with a middleman. Why not cut you off?
Ah, exactly what I was thinking, Aaron. You don't have to worry about going back to Severin empty-handed. We could just kill you off.
So you're suggesting slaying us and folding yourselves into Severan's employ, fully doing their work. Is that something she'll look at Hazel and she'll say, is binding yourself to the service of the god of trickery and lies and secrets something that you really want to do? Is that what you want your life to be? Or would you like to do this one thing and save these children?
I don't think it's that black and white.
We'd be saving these children either way.
They do not need to serve Severin
And they
by
won't.
slaying you. If anything, I would wager that assisting you would be tying themselves to Severin more than anything.
As I said, if you do this for us, then we have no need for them. We will let them all go. We will send them with you to be escorted back safely. We have no need for them if you if you agree to work with us.
Am I not aligning myself if I help you, help your deity, who happens to be the same deity?
There is a difference between helping us help them and you making the contact directly. You might appreciate the distance, the ability to separate yourself from this when it's over.
I've already made my pledge. Whether Alondra and Aaron do it, I cannot speak. But the deal was we both give each other our cards or whatever. You've given yours and I've given mine.
You need to decide what is more beneficial to your survival. Fighting me and Grime, who has completed her deal and is no longer obligated not to attack you, on our home
I
turf.
believe she agreed that she would not aid the opponents in an attack.
And you have reached your destination.
I believe our deal extended past that. It extended through the conflict, as we expected.
And we are not alone either. And with that, Alexios and Strixus will land and kind of peek their heads in through the window and like click at you.
There's 6 of us, 4 of them.
Are battling us on our home turf, where we control the land itself. You saw the plants as they moved and writhed as Grime came by.
You mentioned the need for killing other gods,
I did not say the need to kill them.
but
The need to.
certainly the information might help.
They are the other deities are the biggest threat to Severand.
And if Severn felt threatened,
Can you deny that it is unwise to gather information on your enemies?
but what I'm bringing to the table and what I'm beginning to question is if Severn uses this information to kill a god, what happens?
Then a deity perishes.
Does their domain die with them?
Some of the deities have children already. A few of them have already begun the next generation. However, defeating a deity, well, make a religion check for me. Anyone interested can make this check.
Fuck! No! 8! Damn it, Hazel! Why aren't you smarter? You were doing so good!
I got 17.
Okay.
Your stupidity killed your footing, Hazel.
Is Aaron making the check?
Yeah, I did, but I got a 9.
Okay.
I rolled a 2.
So, Alondra, you would have heard stories of this. There are stories that killing a deity allows you to claim their influence, their power. So that's why there have been a few mortals that have attempted it, because it's possible for the mortal to claim the god, the deity's influence after slaying them. So you are aware of this. But Grime just says, At this point in time, this information is for self-defense. It's to stay one step ahead.
Has he been threatened? Is there a reason for this hysteria of your deity?
Severind is the deity of secrets, among other things. Their power is somewhat dependent on these secrets. There has been no implicit attack as far as I have been made aware, but
I have another query. How do you know Severand isn't lying to you?
Ooh.
I don't. But we have
Then
formed a mutually beneficial deal with one another.
seemingly beneficial.
Indeed. This is...
Now,
we
do
are
you
tricksters
see
ourselves. We understand this.
Do you see the position I'm now in? You seem like more of a danger. And I find myself more tempted to help my friends take you down. A threatening middleman is not to be left on the world.
Yes,
And
Adol. Come to the killing side. Come to the killing side.
I haven't finished. What that says about Aaron is an issue in its own matter.
I'm just I'm just readying for you guys to ready.
I have not claimed to be benevolent. I have laid these cards on the table for you. I have presented information. You have come here to rescue these children. I am presenting you an opportunity to do so, while avoiding conflict. Conflict that would be dangerous for you. I have provided you a means to preserve your safety. Freeing these children from their amber prisons is a process more involved than simply casting a spell on them. This is a special sort of prison that is not so easily disposed of. We have insured ourselves better than that. If you are to slay me, and you have these amber gems, what is your plan? You haven't freed the children, you have simply made keeping them safe harder.
He's saying that to like counterspell or something wouldn't work.
So we don't know at this point in time.
I mean, it's up to you to interpret that.
Yeah.
There is no lesser of the two evils. We say we walk away, we leave the children in your care. Severance still has spies, and people lose their children. If we fight, we don't know what we're walking into. If we agree, we don't know what we're walking into, just as much as I would argue you don't know.
Allow me to propose the start of a deal. Should you agree to aid us, We will free these children now and allow them to leave with you tonight, in this moment, so you can carry out your task to us knowing the children are safe. We will not hold that over you. However, making a deal with us, you will be bound to it to carry out the task that we have put forth. So we will remove the children from the equation. Should you agree to help us, we will not lord them over you.
Know that my word is unbreaking. If I gave you my word, I will see that it is fulfilled. But I want you to also understand that this is not a decision I can make in just one setting. I have to think about this. As I said, there is no lesser of the evils. All are equally evil. And I must consider what evil I am.
I understand the position I have put you in. I'm curious how your compatriots feel about this decision.
As am I. Can I glean what time it is?
Yeah, I mean, you guys left pretty early in the morning. You traveled for a couple of hours. Um, you've been here probably maybe close to 15, 20 minutes now. Um, so you gather that's probably, I say you woke at um, like 10. It's probably midday, noon to 1 p.m.
Can I perhaps speak with my compatriots and get you an answer by sundown? That is the best compromise I can think of.
That seems fair. She'll begin to pick up the amber gems and put them back into her bag, one by one, kind of keeping her eyes locked with yours as she does it. Um, she'll say, have your chat. Come and speak to me when you're ready. There are many ways that we could achieve our goals here. I'm leaving this to your creativity. Come up with a plan that feels right for you, and if it seems agreeable, then I'm sure we can find a deal. If you would like, I can offer you room inside the house.
I think I would prefer the fresh air. I do appreciate the offer, though.
By all means, come find me when you are ready.
Hazel's gonna extend his hand to like shake her hand.
She'll hold hers out and grab yours, and it is like so calloused
Ugh.
and scabbed that it's almost scaly as she grabs you. And you can kind of feel she's not like digging into you, but her claw-like hands sort of like barely like dig into the back of your hand as she shakes. Um, and she says, "Come and find me when you're ready."
Hazel's gonna go outside. Or try to go back the way he came to get outside.
Draka and Heidi will follow. Alondra and Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll follow as well.
Alondra will look at Olga, still clutching her rapier, for like 3 seconds, not blinking, and then with a huff, walk out behind them.
Olgra will hold your gaze the whole time. She'll meet you, locking eyes with you. And as you turn to walk away, Grime will just kind of laugh behind you.
Mother.
And you just hear her chuckle as you leave. Um, as you exit, Alexios and Strixus, the two creatures who I believe their portraits are still in the portraits channel. They're up above Mama Olgra. Um, what the two of them look like. But as you leave, they'll kind of fly and like circle above you like buzzards um, as you kind of walk away. Um, and Draka will look to the three of you and she will say, "We have the children so close. We've gotten closer than closer than I'd imagined, if I'm being honest. Where are your hearts pointing you?" And Heidi will say, "I saw her, my daughter, in that pile."
Oh no.
I think Azel would probably go to clear his head. Can Azel find like a patch of grass and just sit down and start reading his book?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can make your way kind of. You guys are in a forest, so finding a secluded spot is not too hard with the way that these trees have kind of grown thick together. So you can for sure kind of uh, step away. Um, Aaron and Alondra, is there anything that you guys are doing in this time that you have to yourself?
Mm, I'll probably tell the group um, the issue here does not appear to be Severand, as Severand is only seeking information. Therefore, the corruptness is the hags. Unfortunately, if we serve the hags, not only would you be abetting Severand, which may or may not disagree with you, but we're assisting the hags, which are an evil power. Hence the middlemen, middlewoman, middle hags. I do not wish to serve anyone who would corruptly subject children. That
Then
is
what
an
do you
evil that, even if we assist them, the evil is still within the world.
I have to
but
say I agree with Aaron on that one.
if we take action, there's still evil.
Yes, but there'd be less. We'd be taking out less an evil out of the world. Yes, there's still evil.
But it would still exist. By killing them, we are not bringing the children back as we have made our promise. We are breaking it.
I believe with the combined help of many clerics and paladins, myself, that it can be done.
And are we not evil in this situation? By striking down people who are willing to at least make a deal with us. Just because this plot involves us, we can't forget to look at the other side. We are not the good guys. We are just a group. Just as much as they are not the bad guys, they are just a group.
Is a fair point. In the end, however, I guess on the one hand, we can release all of the children this way.
How do you serve Severand?
Ooh, yes.
I
Turn it
serve
on him.
Severin by gathering knowledge, as the hags have been asked to do, except I do it in different ways. There's much a difference between studying runes and magical sites and kidnapping and transforming children.
And
Those are very different.
what information are you gathering that is better than this?
Anything, anything, really. History, arcana.
Come on. You pledge yourself to a god and you just find knowledge on anything?
As that is the nature of my service. That is how I exercise. How does that faith?
Hazel's going to keep reading his book. Just disengage from the conversation. Needs to clear his noggin.
They, we've seen them be able to use eyeballs and hands. They could have made numerous eyeballs to watch. They didn't have to bring children into this.
And that's how they practice, which is vastly different. And that's the key determining factor.
I just don't see how us three, maybe five, counting Heidi and Draka, can compare to the countless of children that we're going to take away and go out into the world.
Which is partially why I kind of smell something even more fishy. What if this isn't a plot for whatever god? They could have chose any. What if this is more so to get to us rather than the knowledge they're seeking?
As in, they want us to be indebted to them?
They can frame whatever task they want and frame it very well as the will of the god, but hell, they could tell us that to to kill an entire village. And our word would bind that, us to their will.
And that's why I'd rather not serve them. I would much rather trust a god whose basis is knowledge, hidden knowledge, secrets. I'd much rather trust that god than those who clearly have chosen to take the evil route.
How do I know that this isn't just something that's been lost in communication? How do I know that Severin is your perception? The person that strives for knowledge through searching ancient texts or ancient artifacts. How do I know that Severin isn't the person that strives for knowledge through spy work and deception? And how do I know that your upbringing and their upbringing hasn't taught two different things?
I can't convince you, but I can just tell you it's how we practice. This is how I would practice. Alondra, what about your deity? How do you practice that?
Oh, Alondra.
Um, I, you know, it's unclear. Um, I recently fell into the service of this deity. But he is the deity of traveling and exploration, and that is what I'm doing. I am finding my way without the confines of my what my name is in my home country. I'm no longer Alondra, the daughter of the Olivara family, who is very strong practitioners of the deity. Ugh, what is his name?
I guess you're not. No.
Are you thinking of Alayna, the deity of Arcana?
Yeah, of Alanoa. And right now, I meditate and kind of hope that I am taking this oath that I have sworn to fight the greater evils, to have no mercy for the weakness, to bring balance into the world by doing what's right. And what is right to me is bringing this children home and not being in the service of the hags.
So, Hazel, would you say that someone could serve the same deity as Alondra, but with an iron fist, willing to wipe out all that is weak and conquer for their own?
Absolutely.
And that is the difference. I would much rather serve Severn, a god of knowledge and secrets, than the hags who chose to go about the gathering of knowledge and secrets not by searching runes or ancient texts, but by harvesting children.
But the one thing I questioned is that these gods exist among us. They are not someone we cannot see. So there is true character behind their actions. There is true motives behind their actions. We can see them and shake their hands. Interpretation can only take you so far until you meet the real deal.
Would you rather serve the hags?
I would rather not be in this position.
Hazel, nothing says that Severn is going to come down and ask us to complete this thing that he asked the hags to do. Only
I
Aaron
wouldn't
is
expect it.
is a follower of his. I follow Torrent. I'm not exactly sure who you follow, but I don't really see why Severn would ask anyone but Aaron to complete whatever quest he has for these hags.
You're absolutely right. We could turn him down. And then what would he do? If he's
I don't
ruthless enough to ask the hags, at least from what they're saying, to take children, what stops him from just lambs of the slaughter?
There's no reason why Severn would ask you to take up the mantle of the hags if you slay them. No reason. Why? He knows you wouldn't be loyal to him. Heck, he probably knows that you don't share the same value of knowledge. There's absolutely no reason why he would. It's not a mantle that you must uptake. It's not even my mantle, and I serve him. If you were to slay Alondra, you wouldn't have to uptake her oath.
That is true.
If you were to slay me, you wouldn't need to take up mine.
But it's the other side of the coin. We're no better. They're simply serving their god.
But
Yes, but
how?
as Aaron says, there's different ways for us to serve our deity.
Well, that only
They
proves my point even more.
they took the easy way out, Basil. They're making us come up with a better solution for the mission Severin gave them.
But this is the way that they see fit to serve Severn. Who are we to tell them that that's not the way to serve them?
I mean, only if you have a problem with kidnapping children, Hazel.
I do, and that's why I don't see an easy way out. There is no good side.
What choices do we have? There's only so many we can take. One, we attack. We take on the risk ourselves of perishing. Good outcome. We rescue the children, and hopefully through some point we're able to break them free. Or we perish. Or we accept their offer and we work as their servants. As you said, think of the difference between us and children. Obviously, we're much more effective. How might that effectiveness prove in the hands of the hags?
I'll let the I'll let the two of you decide. I don't have the mantle to make this decision. There is no good outcome,
No, there is not.
and I refuse to make a decision, and that is what I will tell Mother. She can kill me, keep me in this house for as long as she wants, but I will never make a decision.
Will you stand by our decision?
To the end. You have my word.
You're sounding like one of the hags, Hazel. Has Grime been rubbing off you?
Hazel's gonna flip the bird.
Dang.
All right. That's where we'll end this episode of Dungeon Stories.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Hazel flipping the bird.
Flipping the bird to Laura.
All right.
Next week's recap.
Yeah, you guys
Here, I'll
have
be
a
right back then.
yeah, you
We
guys have a
ended our
decision. Well,
Oh,
thanks for tuning in, guys.
oh my god.
I am quite excited to see where we go next. But for now, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate you stepping in. Sorry about the delay that we've had. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but we just had busy schedules and then technical difficulties, so it made it hard to be able to record an episode. But we finally are hopefully back in the swing of things for a little bit. So thanks for bearing with us on that. Hopefully it was worth the wait. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to let others know where to find us. Whether you direct them to YouTube or Spotify or iTunes, all of those are great ways to find us. Don't forget to connect with us on our socials at Stories Dungeon on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok is where you can find us on those. So check out those accounts. But in the meantime, everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. We will see you next time Bye. Wait!
Bye.
Before I
Oh,
go, I forgot. Everyone needs to gain a piety point. You have all you've all dedicated and shown great service to your individual paths in this discussion. I think you've all earned a piety point.
Yeah.
So what is that?
5.
Yeah, I was
I'm
just
at
gonna
5.
say, what does that put you guys at?
Same. I'm at
Um,
5.
Yeah, you've all shown some great you've all shown some great dedication to that. So definitely go ahead and up those piety points. Move further along those tracks. That's great.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll see you next week. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.